Welcome everyone. Today we're talking about another tech IPO, Slack, so stay tuned. So today we are talking about Slack. Slack is basically a messaging and working platform, something similar like WhatsApp, but just for the professional world. So basically they're having an app and desktop version of their product where you can exchange messages, you can exchange files and so on. I personally used it once for a project and it's super convenient, but of course, there's also the challenges for Slack to fight against other products like WhatsApp that's everywhere, everybody uses WhatsApp. So Slack had its IPO last week and it was a special IPO because this IPO was a direct listing IPO, which basically means that all available shares of all shareholders gets directly listed on the stock market and no additional shares are getting issued. So what's different about this than other IPOs, the usual IPOs are basically companies getting big banks like Goldman Sachs or JP Morgan, and basically they are working together to find the specific stock price prior to the IPO and releases more shares. So let's say you have 100 shares of 1,000 shares outstanding. This would mean that you have 10% of the company. So if the additional shares are getting issued, then basically, let's say additional 1,000 shares, then your 100 shares of 1,000 would be then 100 shares of 2,000, which would be not 10% anymore, but 5%. So this is called dilution. So, a company that do a direct listing don't issue new shares. That's for shareholders are not getting diluted and all the shares that are available, so all the usual shareholders can theoretically sell all their shares immediately, but of course there are some regulations for shareholders, for founders and so on to not sell all the shares in the IPO. So now you know that Slack is a messaging service for professionals, as well as what is there special about their IPO. So let's talk about some numbers. So basically Slack did around 400 million revenue last year, and they lost about 140 million US dollars, and they are currently valued at $19 billion. That's a bit ridiculous for me, and I think the valuation is quite high because everybody is waiting for this new tech companies, and then another tech company. So the people get exciting and want to invest, and everyone thinks the next tech company is the next Amazon. So that's quite exciting for the people. That's why I think the current valuation are quite high. Plus cheap money on the market, which I will talk about in some of the upcoming videos if you're interested. So $19 billion is a quite high valuation, and consider the ratio which I like to use when I value companies. So for example, let's take the price sales ratio, which takes the company price versus their sales or the revenue per year. So you taking like let's round it up in $500,000 versus 19 billion value of the company. As you can see, without any knowledge about companies, you think that's quite high, and yes, it is. As the company is not doing any profits, you also cannot use the other ratios like PE, like price earnings ratios here. However, if you compare it, for example, to other companies, the PS ratio of 500 million to $19 billion company value is relatively high in my opinion, and so it's not a stock for me, but it's great to see that more and more unicorns, this is how you call a company that is worth $1 billion, go on the stock market and having the potential and opportunities for investors to invest in this kind of new tech companies around the world. Another interesting fact about Slack is they have a quite successful CEO, Stuart Butterfield. Here he is, who also founded Flickr, and basically he founded a mother company which he sold 2005 to Yahoo. So a quite successful tech entrepreneur, which is always a good sign for a company. Subscribe and hit the bell for more videos like that. I hope you enjoyed, and the grass is greener on the other side.